BJ Kissel in 2018. Hello, BJ.
Hey, we know the fourth preseason game is always about the young players. Well, one young player has already been given the night off by Chiefs coach Andy Reid, and that doesn't happen too often. And that player is third-round pick and defensive lineman Derek Nottie out of Florida State. He's only played in 2 preseason games, but that's enough for Coach Reid to give him the night off. He'll suit up next week when they start week 1 against the Los Angeles Chargers. Carter Todd, maybe that's something you asked the guy who brought him here, and Chiefs general manager Brett Veach, when he joins you guys in the booth to start the second quarter.
Very good suggestion and a very good tease from BJ to discuss. Yep, Brett Veach going to join us and talk about getting down to 53 men on a lovely night here in Kansas City at 76 degrees. The storms from earlier today have rolled on through, and we have fine weather for kickoff here at Arrowhead. Chiefs won the toss and deferred, so the Packers will receive. And Andy Reid in preseason game number 4. One of his emphasis, not only playing the younger guys, playing the guys who, even if they're not going to make the Kansas City Chiefs roster, chance to put on tape for all the other NFL teams who may be looking to fill out their rosters and practice squads. So the Chiefs defense will be out first as the Packers get it just inside the 25-yard line. So, now, Todd, obviously preseason games are a little bit wacky when you try to figure out what to watch for, presented by the University of Kansas Health System, the official healthcare provider of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, well, we already heard about Nottie not playing. We're going to see a bunch of the other rookies play tonight. Depth at wide receiver is going to be a big key. We've got to watch, especially towards the bottom when you start to talk about J.U. Chesson and Garrett Dietrich, and then finally the running back position, Dieter, I should say, the running back position, as I race through that. We've got a bunch of Williams still on the roster. Darrell Williams, I think, out of LSU, the rookie, trying to make this team. It's going to be a big night for him.
The pressure on the outside, and the tackle made by Dorian O'Daniel, one of those rookies who's trying to make it. Yeah, we will be talking about all those spots through the night. I think one of the tough things to evaluate about this defense is you do have so many moving parts. I mean, Ragland and Hitchens just coming back last week. Bob Sutton hadn't. Eric Berry won't again play tonight. So you got to make evaluations both from Bob Sutton's chair and Brett Veach's chair and Andy Reid's chair without getting a whole lot of reps for the guys that are going to be there in the regular season.
Right, well, they know the starters and most of the two deep, if you will. I think tonight is a lot about which rookie's going to stand out, who's going to make the final 7-10 spots on the roster. And I think the secondary is going to be an area we really have to focus on. Clearly, that has been an area of disappointment so far this preseason, but should continue to improve as some of the front 7 comes back and the pass rush becomes a little bit more consistent.
Holding. Offense, number 64. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Brad Allen, our referee tonight. That penalty will negate the big run by the Packers offense. So, I mean, as we're talking about 53-man roster and Saturday and 3 p.m. and those decisions, you think there's still some of the guys are going to see, especially in the secondary and a corner tonight, have a chance to get some serious run in the regular season?
I think you could wind up seeing it because, you know, they're looking for guys. And obviously, Kendall Full at the corner position. And Nelson comes back at the other spot.
Ooh, there we go. And there's a pick at the 45-yard line and a chance for a run back. Single safety at the back of the D, and it's picked off Armani Watts, the rookie from Texas A&M, the 4th-round pick. And Watts read that the whole way.
He did. As you said, it's single high safety. A lot of cover one as they do. Watts has struggled recently. That's a great way to start this night for Armani Watts. And he was a playmaker in college, too. 10 interceptions you saw there. If you give him an opportunity, he's going to finish the play.
We got this one from Brett Veach that he played over 3,100 snaps at Texas A&M. So I imagine you saw a lot of Armani Watts, which all the tape do you watch on these guys?
Yeah, and he played 49 snaps in the first preseason game. It was the most of any of the defensive players. And then it's almost like you started to see a decline in the snaps that he was playing. Partly because game 3 is a lot of the starters, but it's good to see him out here regaining some confidence in this 4th game, and he's going to have to be a big part of their future moving forward, especially with some of the injuries that they've already had at that safety position.
And so a takeaway by the defense. That'll hand the football over to the offense. Chad Henne gets the start in preseason game number 4. The 11th year pro out of Michigan. And it is Henne handing off to Damian Williams with a good push on the right side.
I've been so impressed with Chad Henne. This guy's played 6 games since 2013. And so you kind of, as a backup, he was with Blake Bortles for a while. He kind of worked through, Blake's struggles, and it helped him as a veteran quarterback. But if you don't get game experience, it's tough to stay sharp. And he's come here and he loves this system. He loves how they've utilized him. He's gotten into a rhythm every single game he's played, and he's really protected the football for the most part. And I think he's been as good as you can be as a backup quarterback in this league during the preseason so far.
And on second down, Henney completes to the outside. That's Damian Williams again, spinning for a first down. And so for Henney to have as little game action entering year 11, and obviously he knows that it's Patrick Mahomes at number 1. You've been on this long football journey, and 11 years now into the National Football League. You like what you see from Chad Henne.
I really do, and I see the improvement. We talked to Brett Veach, the general manager, and most importantly, he has really liked what he's seen. I asked him, I said, you got to be happy, right, with what you've seen from Henne. He's like, it's so nice to have a backup that not only you feel comfortable if something does happen to Patrick Mahomes, that if he can go in and play at a high level, but also knowing in that quarterback room how important the quarterback room is when you have a young quarterback in Mahomes who is going to need guidance. You know, Mahomes was saying he was struggling to find the Mike linebacker at the beginning of last year, and then he started to get it, and this year he's on another level. But having guys around him, a veteran like Henne, I think can be really important to how Mahomes develops and just his day-to-day process.
We talk so much with good cause about the Mahomes to Hill throw. 69 yards in Atlanta. That is complete. Demetrius Harris was suspended for week 1 but playing here in preseason game number 4. But when Mahomes threw the interception in Atlanta, it was back to the sideline. The first person there to talk to him was Chad Henne, and the next drive ends in one of the most remarkable throws anybody's seen in a long, long time.
Well, think about for Mahomes for a second. You come into the league, you have one of the premier quarterback coach and offensive minds in Andy Reid. You've got arguably the best weaponry in terms of receivers, running backs, tight ends around you of any team in the league. And you go from Alex Smith being able to watch a guy who's a veteran and a really cerebral player and knows the process, and being able to study him day to day, then you get the starting job and they bring in a player like Chad Henne who's going to work with you and help develop you. So I think for Mahomes, you really can't ask for a better situation than what he's been brought into with that first year, and now having a veteran quarterback that backs him up and is comfortable backing him up and is not trying to work to get his job.
And how good is our 65 TPT team that immediately upon mention of that throw, available. Henne hit as he throws, complete. That's Alex Ellis finding his way inside the 10. Ellis dives down to the 5. First and goal Chiefs, the second-year pro from Tennessee. He looked impressive in warm-ups. He is ready to play in preseason game number 4.
You see here, coming out in number 82, going to get off the line of scrimmage quickly. And what I love is Henne's recognition. He diagnoses the coverage immediately. He sees that he's got the crosser with the tight end coming across, and then gets the ball out just in time right before he takes the big hit.
The look in Hypermo brought to you by Bud Light. Longest offensive play of this opening drive for the Chiefs. The defense gets a takeaway. The offense has first and goal. Handing off, Henne. That's Daniel Braverman, first-year pro out of Western Michigan. He's actually drafted by the Bears. Gets a couple. So second goal from the 3. Eric Bieniemy, offensive coordinator, there with Andy Reid.
This is the start you want, and you want to finish drives. It's been an issue during some of these games so far in the preseason. They've been able to sustain long drives and not finish them. You'd like to be able to finish here.
One of the discussions coming out of Chicago in preseason game number 3. Henne's second goal, zips it, slant is incomplete. Intended for DeMarcus Robinson. So third and goal. And so, Todd, just like you said, I mean, you come out of preseason week number 3 and say, all right, we need to get in the end zone. Not on this one.
Yeah, that ball is a little bit low. You'd like to see Robinson pull it in, but it's difficult on a quick hitter like that to be able to adjust the ball thrown below your knees. Robinson's one of the guys that you feel strongly about. He's on this team. He's going to be part of the rotation. He's out here getting a little bit more run tonight.
And he was 3 for 3 prior to that incompletion. Third and goal. Henne looks the other way. Touchdown, Kansas City Chiefs. Demetrius Harris holds it in. A perfect start for the Chiefs. A takeaway on defense and the offense into the end zone. Chad Henne to Demetrius Harris. Andy Reid said, all right, he's going to need his run tonight after he has to sit week 1, and Harris is into the end zone.
They flex him out wide there to create the one-on-one matchup that they want. Harris is a guy that you're going to count on to be that number 2 and create some of these mismatches that you have with Kelsey, and then you see Mahomes liking what he sees.
He's the guy in the visor tonight, running down the sideline to congratulate Chad Henne and the offense. 7 on the board to get it started for the Chiefs. Chad Henne, 4 for 5 on the opening drive. It began with the defense. The tested secondary. Watts has the pick. Henne has the TD pass to Demetrius Harris.
Only we can claim a kingdom.
Save the date for Red Friday on September 7th. Fans can purchase the 2018 limited edition Chiefs Kingdom flag for $5 at KC area McDonald's or online at shop.chiefs.com. Proceeds benefit Ronald McDonald House Charities of Kansas City. Visit chiefs.com/Red Friday for details. All in red here at Arrowhead tonight. Good showing and an excellent showing by the Chiefs so far. Armani Watts has an interception. Chad Henne has a TD pass. Aaron Springs had a nice tackle on the opening kickoff. So the second kickoff for the Chiefs, always a good sign. To across the 30-yard line, and a nice shoestring tackle at the 35. We'll check in with BJ.
Guys, when you were mentioning Armani Watts' instincts earlier, that was the one thing that really stood out when talking with Brett Veach right after the draft. We had a chance to go into the film room and spend some time with Brett talking to us about the different guys they drafted, what he liked about them. And there was one particular play against Arkansas last year where Watts came across, basically had the game-winning play, came over and made the interception. We may have spent 25 minutes on that one play where Brett was running through things. It showed all the instincts, Todd, that you were talking about, and was one of those 16 turnovers that Watts created during his time at Texas A&M.
I love the film room when you literally you could go through one play an infinite amount of times and still find something fresh in there.
Get the wide view, tight view, slow-mo, rewind, and wear that clicker out. Brett Veach certainly does. All the guys I know around the league, he's one of the more respected evaluators when it comes to just breaking down tape and finding players, and then, you know, as a scout growing up, pounding on the table and believing in what he saw, and that's why he's risen to where he is today.
Visit with Brett in this first half. Tackle made by Dorian O'Daniel. By the way, on special teams, that was McKenton Julian who made the potential touchdown-saving tackle, and those special teams moments are just as important, maybe more so than anything else.
He doesn't make that might be 6. So that's, you know, that stands out, and that's something that you see with the effort, the ability to get back in the play, the closing burst, and then the ability to make the tackle when you're not in a great position to finish off the kick returner. Dave
Toub, now assistant head coach as well as special teams head coach, and has a big voice in those decisions as to who's going to be making the 53-man. That's T.Y. McGill, 4th-year pro out of NC State, who makes that stop.
McGill's played well. All of these backups have played well. You know, just watching the last few games, being at the game in Chicago last week, whether it's Mike Purcell, McGill, we've seen flashes from all of these guys. Justin Hamilton's another one. So they've got some tough decisions to make. You know who the frontline players are. I think the deepest group on this team right now may be that interior defensive line group. And they're going to have to cut some good players that wind up on some other teams or try to get them on the practice squad and keep them.
On second down, stretched out again. Tough running. Stephen Charles makes the stop. 5th-year pro out of the University of Regina in Saskatchewan.
It's hard to root against some of these guys.
Right.
You know, he plays in Canada, and he comes and works out for the NFL. He doesn't get to go to the regular combine. He goes to a regional scouting combine. He's a 2nd pick in the CFL. He gets some tries in the NFL, and he's bounced around to the Titans, the Bills, for 3 years, the Lions, Jaguars, and now with the Chiefs. So this guy's a journeyman already just a few years in.
On 3rd down. Pressure. And room to scamper and run, and that will be a first down. DeShone Kizer takes off. Dorian O'Daniel makes the stop for the Chiefs. Back him into 3rd and long, and DeShone Kizer manages to scramble to move the chains anyway.
And Deshaun Kaiser, he's got some mobility. He's a big, strong-arm quarterback out of Notre Dame. You saw the pass rush come from the left, his left side with Breland Speaks. Wasn't on the opposite side able to get support, and so break contain, and Kaiser picks up a big first down.
Kaiser time to throw, but nowhere to take it. So he is chased. Kaiser's going to tip it incomplete. Now, you brought up Breland Speaks, and he's an interesting case for the Chiefs and the NFL and all of it, because a guy who's played several different positions. I mean, versatility is the one thing that comes up all the time with Breland Speaks.
It really is. And he could legitimately put on good weight and play as a down lineman. You can play him with his hand in the dirt, as I talked about earlier, if you're going to go to a four-man rush, and then he can play off. And so that versatility is hugely important. What he's got to do is maintain discipline and work as hard off the field with his conditioning and with his, the food and diet as he does on the field during game day. Because you'll see he's got a great motor when you study him on tape and watch him in these games.
And so that's part of the step for Breland Speaks is, all right, we know what you can do on tape, we know what you can do on film. We want to build you into a pro that's going to do this for a long time.
Absolutely. And, you've got D Ford, you've got Justin Houston. And now he becomes the next guy, and right away it provides depth. And you need depth throughout the season with pass rushers. You always hear the phrase, it's cliche, but cliche is true. You can't have enough pass rushers in this league, especially guys that can win with quickness and can win with power, and you can move them around too. So he brings Bob Sutton a lot of versatility.
On 3rd and short, Kaiser over the middle, caught, but that's going to be very close, short of the first down, and that's Aaron Springs with another nice tackle. It will be short. 4th down coming up for the Packers. So Springs has showed something on special teams, and now on 3rd and short.
That was a big tackle. You had to get him down right away. Breland Speaks actually did a great job dropping into coverage there and taking away the wheel route down the sideline. Kaiser had to check down to another progression read, and really nice play there by Springs to finish him off before, but now they're going to go for it on 4th.
4th and less than a yard. Kaiser wants the end zone. Kaiser deep shot. It is caught for a touchdown. Beat on the back end again. The Chiefs secondary, and a breakdown. Tremont Smith in coverage, and the Packers are into the end zone. Kaiser to Geronimo Allison.
And the protection was there. Chiefs couldn't get to the quarterback. Kaiser had all the time in the world, and eventually Smith had a breakdown in the back end of coverage. But it really starts up front, I think, for the Chiefs there. You need to get more pressure on Kaiser and not allow him to survey the entire field about 5-6 seconds in the pocket.
7-7. This is cool. A look at the interception by Watson TrueView from Intel.
This is really cool. You're going to see here Kaiser surveying the field. He's got a little bit of traffic in front of him. There's a read and a decision he shouldn't make, and then he overthrows it. And Watts is there in position by studying his eyes and staying with the play. He's able to close quickly and finish on that interception.
So the first possession by the Packers, the interception. Then Chad Henne leads a 9-play, 51-yard TD drive. And then the Chiefs defense allows a 9-play, 65-yard drive, 31-yard TD pass on 4th down. Chad Henne already has the hat on, so we'll likely see Matt McGloin and Chase Litton the rest of the way.
Take that as a good night.
That's right. You go 4 for 5, opening drive TD. Tip of the cap. Vaughn Smith is back from inside the 5. Smith sprinting ahead, lays a lick as Smith gets near the 30-yard line. Introducing Kingdom Blonde Ale by Golden Road Brewery, a clean, crisp beer brewed for Chiefs Kingdom. Be sure to enjoy a glass of Kingdom Blonde Ale during your next visit to Arrowhead. Please drink responsibly. That's cool too. Matt McGloin's going to take over, so Chad Henne has the 1 series, 4 for 5 TD. Shut it down, and we'll get into the battle for the 3rd quarterback spot between Matt McGloin, the veteran from Penn State, 5th-year pro, and Chase Litton, the rookie from Marshall, where now it is Matt McGloin And he's handing off to Darrell Williams, the rookie out of LSU. So what do you see out of Matt McGloin and what he brings to this Chiefs team potentially?
Well, I'm surprised based off of my college evaluation that he's still hung around this league. He started 7 games early in his career, but has only started 1 since his rookie year. He's a guy who fits well in this system. He doesn't have a big arm, but he can move around in the pocket. He's been around the league. He understands what he's seeing defensively. He's really good in the quarterback room too, which is something you have to really consider when you get to that third quarterback.
For a guy who walked on at Penn State and an undrafted free agent, boy, that is a nice, tough catch by DeAnthony Thomas. Thomas goes over the middle and somehow hangs on to that football. That's a tough catch from DeAnthony Thomas.
It's good to see him back. You know, DeAnthony wasn't playing early on, a little bit nicked up, came back against Chicago, and they really need him as another weapon. I shouldn't say need. They have plenty of weapons, right, but they really enjoy having him in the small little package that he has. And on special teams, he's become a terrific player in multiple facets of special teams.
Looking Hypermo, brought to you by Bud Light. So McGloin handing off again. Big hole, Darrell Williams pounding his way across the 50 as we check in with BJ Kissel.
Guys, after that catch from DeAnthony Thomas, one thing to keep in mind, and we use this quote a lot, but special teams coach Dave Toub once called DeAnthony Thomas pound for pound the toughest player on this team. It's because of plays like that.
Yeah, you can see why. And it seems like a perpetually, you get to this point in the preseason and say, well, now where does DeAnthony Thomas fit on this roster? And yet, he has and continues to fit. And see a catch like that, you understand why. McGloin on the roll to the outside. That is Demarcus Robinson, who manages to walk the tightrope.
Really nice throw. It was close.
Yes. Oh, that's what I was waiting to see. Now, actually, I don't think
it's good in the college game.
I don't think it was close, but it's going to be a completion anyway. So, and now here we go. Yeah, it's going to be a challenge. And while I take a look, we'll step away for a moment at Arrowhead.
Real citrus peels.
Support your favorite Chiefs players' cause by purchasing tickets to the My Cause, My Cleats game on Sunday, December 9th, when the Chiefs will take on the Baltimore Ravens at Arrowhead Stadium. $10 of every ticket purchase will be donated to a player's cause of your choice. For more info, visit Chiefs.com/mycause. My Cleats. Reviewing that last catch by Demarcus Robinson was ruled a catch. We'll have an announcement shortly. I'm just going to go ahead and say I didn't anticipate that being very close. Thought it was incomplete.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. Green Bay is charged with his first timeout and his first challenge.
Yeah, I thought it was a catch all the way.
Yeah. Todd wins that round. No question about it.
No. I agree with you. Let's see. He's got possession right there.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, it's a catch.
Yeah, that's a catch. Maybe one where they didn't have a clear look, but regardless, it's a catch. 2nd and 5 to the outside. That's Thomas. Blown up by the Packers on the screen, trying to get it into the hands of DeAnthony Thomas. That's going to bring up 3rd down. DeAnthony Thomas, 5th year out of Oregon. And right after we talked about how special teams was important, I mean, that's how DeAnthony Thomas has made his hay in the National Football League. Yes, talented receiver, but you add in the special teams piece, that's why he keeps hanging around.
Yeah, and we talked to Andy Reid, and he said they want to keep 7 receivers. And you start to look at it with Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, Chris Comley, Demarcus Robinson, they're locks. DeAnthony Thomas is very likely. Then you've got Marcus Kemp, J.U. Chasen, Garrick Dieter. I mean, there's a lot to sort through there for that 7th spot. It's going to be very interesting to see what Brett Veach, the general manager, winds up doing in terms of keeping these guys. And then if you want to put 1 or 2 on the practice squad, will they pass waivers and wind up still being on your practice squad? Or is another team going to try to bring 1 or 2 of those guys in and put them on their 53-man roster?
Jay Samaro makes that grab. He's in the fight for the 3rd tight end spot for the Chiefs. But yeah, that's an interesting aspect of it. You want to have as many good players in your roster, but you start practice squad, and that's when it gets thorny for everyone in the NFL.
Can get plucked.
This is Matt McGloin's first drive at quarterback. Chad Henne had one drive, resulted in the touchdown. McGloin, play fake. McGloin's going to take a shot. Jay Samaro again. And this is why, coming out of Texas Tech, Jay Samaro had so much attention.
Big hands. He's been inconsistent. He's got to improve a little bit as a blocker, but the athleticism, the size, and the ability to make tough catches in traffic are there. So it's kind of frustrating because the player I thought he was going to be has not become yet. But there's clearly a lot of potential there when you talk about Amaro.
25 yards on the last 2 plays of the Chiefs to end the first quarter. Bayo and Charlie XCX now at Ticketmaster.com. 8th play of the drive coming for the Chiefs. It was on the 9th play of the drive, opening drive, that Chad Henne had the touchdown pass. So now Matt McGloin in his first possession as Matt McGloin and Chase Litton battle for the number 3 quarterback spot. We're joined by Chiefs General Manager Brett Veach. Thank you, Brett. We're having fun talking about the roster and the what have you. We get to have fun with it.
Yeah.
I know it's some tough decision time for you. Here's a toss to the end zone. McGloin and overshooting DeMarcus Robinson. So, all right, preseason game number 4. What are you looking for, and what are you specifically looking at tonight?
Yeah, it's just another opportunity for our young guys to go out there and showcase what they can do, and we're excited about this rookie class, and we also have some undrafted free agents that I think have a really good shot to make this team. So, again, it's just another opportunity for those guys to go out there and show us what they can do.
Well, we talked on the call the other day about your depth at running back and how you evaluate not just ball in the hands, but I mean how you go through when you have depth at a position like running back, how you evaluate to get to 53 at that specific position.
Yeah, no, we're fortunate. We got a nice crew of running backs, and I think one thing that you'll notice about our running backs is from Kareem to Spencer to Darryl to Damian, they're all 220. They run downhill, they run with some authority, and they can all catch the football. That's one of the things that we put a big priority on, just being able to catch the football in the backfield. Obviously, we're going to throw the ball a lot. We're going to have a lot of fun with that, but these guys are going to be a big part of the passing game. And so these guys are 220, they run downhill, and they can catch.
Darryl continues to make this a difficult choice for you, huh?
Yeah, no, he's having a great camp, and we're super excited. You know, he was a guy that when we had drafted Khalil in the 6th round and we didn't have a 7th round pick, we didn't think he would get to free agency, but he did, and fortunately we had a good, strong presentation to him after the draft, and we were very fortunate we were able to get him, and we've had success now with LSU running backs from bringing Spencer Ware in here, and Darryl's following suit with that.
Wide receiver is another position where it's never an embarrassment of riches when you're in your position, but certainly you got a lot of good players and got some tough decisions, I would think, to make when it comes to the final few players. I mean, we know about the Tyreek Hills and Sammy Watkins and Chris Conley, but then we're talking to Andy Reid, and obviously you know, talking about maybe 7 wide receivers on the roster. How do you make those tough decisions when it comes to some of the back-end players like a J.U. Chesson or you know, all the guys, Demetrius Robinson, so on and so forth?
Yeah, I think those decisions really follow suit with the other positions and what these guys can do in regards to versatility. Can they line up and play multiple positions? And then certainly special teams. I mean, it usually comes down for the last 6th spot, 7th spot. These guys will have to line up, be gunners, cover kicks, cover punts. So certainly Dave Tobe and I and Coach Reid will get together, but special teams will have a big say in that. And it's very close, but again, we're fortunate to have some talent there to work with.
We had some injuries on the defensive side, but you got your inside linebackers back against Chicago last week. Anthony Hitchens, Reggie Ragland. What did you see from him in that game, and just kind of your overall assessment of the defense so far this preseason?
No, we're really excited about those 2 linebackers. We were very fortunate to execute a trade last year with Buffalo. We brought Reggie here, and you know, Reggie was here for a few weeks and got into season form midway through our season. Right. And he had a strong OTA, and then we signed Anthony. And so we were excited about them, bringing them to training camp. Reggie had a little setback early on, and Anthony was flying around. And then as soon as Reggie was ready to go, then Hitch had a little bit of a setback with a hamstring. And but we were excited to get him back out there. Now, last week versus Chicago was really the first time that they played together in pads in the season in a game format. So they were knocking a little rust off the tires yesterday. But we're really excited because now they're both full go and they'll be ready for week 1.
It seems like to me they complement one another really well.
Yeah, well, they're both really intense. And, you know, we talk about, yeah, the quarterback on offense and those linebackers are really the quarterback on defense. Both those guys are excellent communicators, and both those guys are intense, physical guys. They're always carrying around a playbook. They're always carrying around an iPad, and they really set the tone on the side. And they really complement one another because they're really wired the same way. They just love football, and they're all football all the time.
One guy we haven't seen tonight is Derek Nottie. He's played so well that he's getting a rare night off from Andy Reid and his staff. But first of all, what have you seen from Derek Nottie so far? Let's start there.
Yeah, that's a good point, Si. That's certainly a rarity.
Right.
These preseason games are so valuable to the young guys, and in particular the fourth preseason game because you know, they really get to go out there and start the game and log a lot of reps. Derek was a guy that, you know, you bring him in, you draft him. You know, the OTAs are 7-on-7s. It's a passing camp. But from the day we got to St. Joe's, we put the pads on. I mean, he looked like he'd been a 4-year pro out there the way he played. And he had a little setback with a hyperextension of an elbow. We were able to get him out there for the Atlanta game and then last week for Chicago, and he did so well. I think we've seen enough. And he'll be, you know, in the starting rotation week 1. So we're excited about, you know, the progress he's made already.
To me, it seems like the depth is so much better than it was probably a year ago in terms of that defensive front. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah, certainly. I think we're younger and we're healthier.
Yep.
We have Xavier Williams and Derek Nottie now at the nose. Xavier can also play a little shade and a little 3. Chris Jones is having the best camp since he's been here. We have Alan Bailey. And then you know, Hamilton and Jarvis Jenkins round out that rotation. So we're excited about those guys because they can all play. And it's a good catch there. So they can all play, and they all added something a little different, but they're all young and very versatile.
I talked to you earlier this week about Chad Henne. I've been so impressed with him. I mean, he's only played 6 games since 2013, and every time he's come out, including the first drive tonight, 4 for 5 with a touchdown. And he's looked sharp, and you've just got to be comfortable with him, I would think, as a general manager looking at the situation, knowing that you have a young quarterback in Pat Mahomes, and then having a veteran here that's going to not try to take his job, but work with him to try to help him throughout the process.
Yeah, no question. Well, first off, he's from Pennsylvania, so I'm.
There you go.
He's good. You know, I joked with Coach when we were trying to get him here for agency. I said, hey, listen, he's a PA. He's a quarterback PA. Yeah, I mean, we're good. But no, you know, when we got here as a staff in 13. You learned quickly. We brought Alex Smith in here, and we had Chase Daniels. And even though Alex was a veteran, it was his first time playing in Kansas City, first time playing in the Coach Reid offense. And I think as the season went on, you know, you got a chance to see exactly how valuable that position is. You know, a lot of times these coaches, the head coaches on the field, watching the defense, the coordinators in the booth, checking the iPads, checking out the schemes and the coverages. And really, that veteran quarterback is a guy that is really sort of a coach out there. And especially, you know, we have a young quarterback, starting a young quarterback. Some of the dialogue they have on game day, on the field, and throughout the week, again, I got to see it firsthand how valuable that was with Chase and Alex. So Chad is in that same mold. He's smart. He's played a lot of football. He's already groomed some young quarterbacks with Blake Bortles in Jacksonville. So we're super excited to have him, and he's been a great addition to the Chiefs.
Now, speaking of all football all the time, Trent is right now watching Northwestern Purdue. Todd is off for Washington Auburn. And here's the great part about this time of year. You're turning the page. You're getting ready for 53. You're getting for that huge cut on Saturday, putting your roster together. And you're also, at the same time, diving into every single college prospect that you may be seeing down the road.
Well,
so all football all the time, it's on.
Yeah, all football all the time. And as soon as we put the touches on the final 53, we'll then look at some of the practice squads and how these teams, you know, put their practice squads together and see if we can make some additions from those practice squads. And then right after that, I'm online. I'm looking at McShay's too early draft board, 19, trying to get a little head start. And I've already peeked at it. So
I love how we brought this together in the kingdom because I know you're. Yeah, you know, I know you've been checking out Todd's stuff.
No, he's
Everybody
one of the best.
does.
You know, he does a great job. And earlier this morning, I actually clicked that on, and I was just. Hey, it's going to be a good D-line class, right? It's good D-line class. You know, I got the username and password.
All right, good.
No, he does a great job, and you know, I'm obviously a big fan of his. So it's always good to get started
We all are.
football. Yeah,
We all are.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, let me ask you this. Going back to the college stuff, and now you've started that side of the process, but it's got to be hard, just from my perspective, looking into each of these 32 front offices. You go from 90 to 53, and yes, you have 10 practice squad guys, but you can pluck other players off practice squads. there's got to be so much work to try to figure out. You're almost 40 players per team, 32 teams. Those numbers add up quickly. Just trying to look around with your whole staff around the league of who's available, who's on the practice squads, and is there anyone out there that maybe could help us upgrade?
Yeah, and you know, really, since we were just about to leave St. Joe's and the preseason game starts, it's really nonstop all the time. We're just, every time a new game comes in, a team plays a game, I mean, we have the tape on and we're logging names, we're tagging names, we're basically building a draft board with bubble guys.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of what we do. And, you know, we have it tiered by how many years in the league. Are they a vet? Do they have practice squad eligibility? Are they a roster guy, a bubble guy? How they fit, how they would fit the puzzle in regards to our roster. But if you were to go in our draft room right now, we have a board position by position, and it looks just like our college draft board. And you know, our guys do a great job, and we're in position to make moves. But, you know, we talked about this too. It's kind of a give and take where it is a lot of work. There are a lot of names late because there's not as many cut periods. But at the same time, you know, there are more opportunities for us to evaluate our own guys and, you know, to keep other guys healthy where you have the numbers and you can really make it through training camp.
I think this gives me an idea for Todd McShay's way too early draft board for getting to 53. I think this may be a whole other.
No, I'll leave that up to Brett and the professionals.
No. I know he's got the Houston guy, the Bosa, and the Michigan guy.
A lot of defensive line.
Yeah, so it's a big defensive lineman class, and I had a chance to watch some of those guys over the summer. They're really talented. It's going to be a really good defensive line class, and you know, that's always a fun time of year.
And it's good for you. There's not a great quarterback class.
Yeah, I think we're good there. So, yeah.
check on quarterback. Brett, thanks for the
always
visit.
a pleasure, Corey. Yep.
It's always a blast.
Yeah, my pleasure. Yep.
We can talk football all day long. I guess that's what we're doing. I guess that's what we're doing. Just talking football. Fun stuff. And let's see if the Chiefs can get a stop here. It is tipped and batted away, incomplete. Nice finish. Brett Veach, big weekend ahead for Brett Veach and the front office folks here in Kansas City. That was knocked away by Arian Springs, who has made some nifty plays at the goal line.
Great job getting his left hand in there, not making contact with the receiver. That allows him right at the last second to knock that ball out. That was a big play right there at the goal line.
That look in hyper mode brought to you by Bud Light, bringing up 3rd and goal for the Packers. Chiefs gave up a touchdown on the last Packers drive. Toss short of the goal line, stretching, knocked down short, and this is going to be 4th and goal coming up, and it's Ben Neiman coming up with another huge play from his inside linebacker spot for the Chiefs, as he has all preseason.
I love this dude. I mean, he's just the fast eyes to diagnose that play. Shows a little closing burst there, and then knowing that he's got to get low and chop out the legs, and is able just at the last second to bring the runner down. Saves the touchdown there with his last-minute effort and ability to make the tackle.
So 2 of your undrafted free agents make huge plays to force 4th and goal, but a touchdown nonetheless, and a quick hitter. Tim Boyle with a TD pass. Robert Tonyan on the receiving end. And so Neiman makes that great play on 3rd and goal. A little quick pitch action there by the Packers to get in the end zone on 4th and goal.
Yeah, it's just a quick read, the old pop pass. There's clearly a breakdown in coverage there, and Green Bay's able to take advantage.
PAT is good. Green Bay has a 14-10 lead. Matt McGloin to the Chiefs offense, getting the football back, down 4. Clearly fried chicken. And 8 seconds later, he was already wavering about whether it was burgers. But you grew up on Sapelo Island off the coast of Georgia, the community of Hog Hammock. You're going to have some pretty good food knowledge.
What was that name again?
Hog Hammock. That's right.
And you know you're going to be a D lineman if you go up there, right?
That's right. BJ, you made that trip, didn't you? Well, maybe we'll check in with BJ's trip to
I did.
Sapelo Island. What did you eat while you were there?
Actually, we made fried chicken. After the first day, he came back and the family made us the meal, and there's a couple of producers that were there, and it was a lot of fun.
That does sound like a lot of fun. So you understand why Alan would have a hard time giving up that fried chicken?
Yes, absolutely.
That's good.
I could use some.
I could understand that as well. I'm not even going to get into BJ and feeding BJ on the sideline. That's
I've heard about that.
This is the 4th preseason game. This is what this is about.
You didn't see it last week. He got back at Trent with some golfing.
Oh
shots.
yeah. That's good. The haymakers.
Yeah, but then Marcus Kemp had to score a 55-yard touchdown in the middle of me giving Trent a hard time. We had to cut it off short.
Trent wins again, as he always seems to do. From the 15 now, Matt McGloin is handing off Darrell Williams at running back. Yep. Williams, I mean, I know this, he didn't surprise you at all, Todd, because you know everybody, but Darrell Williams was, let's just take a look at his scouting report coming out of LSU behind the big name.
Well, he never was a star. Behind Fournette, behind Darius Geis, but every time he came in the game, he was an effective inside runner. He lowers his shoulders, he runs hard, he's been durable when they've called on him, he'll contribute on special teams, and I know this, the guy loves playing football. When you talk about a guy who's never a starter at LSU but was named by his teammates a co-MVP, it tells you all you need to know about his character and love of this game.
That's incredible. That really is incredible. Remember, we just had that conversation with Brett Veach about how we want all of our running backs to be able to do this, not just pound it between the tackles, but also get outside in the pass game. 5.7 yards a carry for a guy who wasn't the featured back at any point for the Tigers.
Well, it's easy not to be the featured back when you're talking about two talents like Fournette and Geis. So
those are featured backs.
And he came to the Senior Bowl and he was one of the standouts there. It's just some of these guys get lost in the shuffle because they're playing at such talented places. And I think Darrell was clearly one of them.
McGloin steps up, eludes the pressure, is batted down, intended for Chason, but continue to that point about Darrell Williams, and like in college, I mean, there's so many guys now that transfer if you aren't getting those touches and carries, and for Darrell Williams, it's a case of you stay there and you're going to get noticed, you're going to have your opportunities, and now a chance to make an NFL roster.
Yeah, and I think, and as I said to Brett Veach, he's making it hard on Veach and the staff, and that's exactly what you want to do. Because now you look at it and you go back and watch the tape, catching the ball against Houston, took over in the second half against Atlanta, played relatively well last week, is already playing well here again. There are 31 other general managers that are watching this, and so if you try to...
Loose football picked up by the Packers.
If you try to put him on the practice squad, there's the chance that you lose him. So that's the tough decision that Darrell Williams has made for Veach and the staff.
Fantastic look brought to you by Intel at that touchdown for Harris.
Man, I love this technology. Are you kidding me? Watch this from the receiver's eyes. Harris, the tight end. Great job of adjusting behind him. That can be one of the toughest catches to make on a quick hitter. The ball's out. Henny's got it a little bit behind him, but in a spot that he can catch it. A lot of times you see that ball dropped. Harris pulls it in, and that's why, even though he's going to have the one-game suspension, they're relying on Harris to be a big part of this offense as the #2 tight end. And not just a backup, but a guy where they bring in the 20 personnel, 2 tight end personnel. He's going to be a part of it and help create some mismatches.
Harris missing week 1 for the suspension for violating the league's substance abuse policy. So that's one of the reasons why Andy Reid says he's going to get some run tonight, because he's taking week 1 off because of that suspension. That pass is complete over the middle, and Armani Watts makes another stop.
Should say 12 personnel, not 20. That would be 2 running backs. Got away from me.
First and 10, Green Bay at the 50-yard line.
On first down. Boyle, long shot, and that is incomplete, out of bounds. And we check in BJ Kissel and a very special guest.
All right, thanks, guys. Down here with QB1, Patrick Mahomes. Patrick, I just want to ask you first, 4th preseason game. I know you're not getting any work tonight. How much fun is it for you to watch the rest of the guys get out there and get some work done?
Yeah, I mean, it's a ton of fun. Just to see all these guys get their opportunity and for them to come out, fly around and make some plays. I mean, it's awesome just to see that and experience that with them.
All right, 10 days from now, you're going to the StubHub Center, taking on the Chargers in week 1. How ready are you for that game?
I'm extremely ready. I mean, going up against a great opponent, a division opponent, just get to go out there and play against the best, and that's what you want to do as a competitor, and I'm ready to get this season rolling.
there's a lot that's made of what you guys do in the preseason and that you don't show a lot of your offense. If you could put a percent on it, what percent of the offense do you feel like you showed this preseason?
Only like 25, 30%. I think we use like our first and second install, if that, and then we have, I think 13 of them in camp, so that just puts a little bit of marker on there.
There's been a lot made of all the offensive weapons you've got, from Kareem Hunt to Travis Kelce to Tyreek Hill and Sammy Watkins. If you were a defensive coordinator, how would you try and stop all the weapons that you guys have?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to choose what they're going to stop between the run game, the pass game, and in the pass game, there's so many options. I mean, it's hard to even choose on that one. So we're really just going to try to distribute the ball to everybody and let all these guys make plays.
All right, and last question. I want to settle this debate because I've seen it on NFL Network. We've talked about it locally, the nickname. We're going to settle it right here. Can we just stick with Showtime? Can that be the nickname going forward?
Yeah, I like it. I like Showtime. That's what I've had growing up, so we'll stick with that one.
Patrick, Showtime Mahomes, that is what we've got. Thanks, Pat.
Appreciate it.
I love it. That would make Jackson like Showtime Jr., little Showtime. That's his brother Jackson, who's focusing on basketball right now in White House, Texas, near Tyler. And
all the screaming this summer, Pat Mahomes.
Yeah.
He's starting to sound like LSU head coach Ed Orgeron.
We need to send down one of the lines that just down through Patrick.
I'm losing my voice, and his is getting stronger.
Yeah, the Mahomes family, I think they've got it covered. I mean, with Dad, Major League Baseball pitcher, Patrick, NFL quarterback, and Jackson is a burgeoning basketball player. Pretty well covered in the Mahomes family. Inside the 10. That was a 39-yard pass interference penalty called on Will Redmond. It's going to...
That was tough. I thought he was in decent position. He kind of got his head around right at the last second, got his hand up. I didn't think it was interference because both guys are kind of pushing off each other. You see that? And that's supposed to be legal. That's what the referees say. If they're both going at each other with their hands and hand checking one another, then they should let that play go. I thought that was one that you let go.
And instead, 39-yard penalty. First and goal, Packers. Tim Boyle at quarterback for the Packers now. And that is a Packers touchdown. So after the 39-yard pass interference penalty, it gets easier down near the goal line for Green Bay. Aaron Jones is into the end zone for a touchdown. And the Packers are racking up points early after that opening interception. It's been 3 straight TDs.
Yeah, I think the thing that stood out on this drive, and not the interference as much, is I think Bob Sutton's going to go back and watch this tape with his defensive staff, and some frustration about missed tackles. In position, you know, the scheme has you there, you're in the hole, you've got to wrap up and finish. And we saw a few missed tackles on a few of those runs on that drive by Green Bay.
Well, the Chiefs fans watching at the Peanut, disappointed so far. But Todd McShay, B.J. Kissel back to watch the Chiefs and the Packers. Trent Green watching son TJ play with Northwestern. It's Purdue. How do you think Northwestern stacks up in the Big Ten this year, Todd?
I think they're pretty good. Pat Fitzgerald always has those guys going. Clayton Thorson's coming back at quarterback after the injury. Didn't think he was going to make it back, and Northwestern's, they're always a 9-10 win team, even if they don't have the talent like everyone else. And they've got new facilities. I think they're going to be all right.
Byron Pringle bobbles it out the back. That'll be a touchback at the 25. So you're in preseason game number 4. You're not going to see a lot of the big 3 weapons, but that incredible duo all over 1,000 yards.
And it's a rare group. Kareem Hunt, to me, the contact balance, ability to break tackles and create yards. Tyreek Hill, the ability to create yards after the catch and just with the ball in his hands. And I think the best tight end in the league when it comes to yards after catch is Travis Kelce. And I'm including Rob Gronkowski in that. Gronkowski's better in some other areas, but Kelce, to me, so the ability to just, if you're a quarterback, this is a dream come true. Just get the ball out. Give him a chance, and you've got 3 guys that create yards like no other triplets in all of the NFL.
And I think those numbers, I was looking at those numbers the other day, the yards after catch comparison. Kelce ahead of Gronk, deep shot, McLeod downfield, Holland, Pringle inside the 15, lost the football, then got back on top of it. He was down right around the 13. It's a 61-yard pass play. Matt McGloin to Byron Pringle over the top again for the Chiefs.
And you look at Byron Pringle, he's at the top of the screen there, and just the speed that he has to get over the top. Pringle, I mean, that's the whole thing with his game. Averaged 28 yards per kick return, 24 yards per catch, Carter, his last year at Kansas State, and he runs in the 4.3, so this is a guy who can get vertical. I know they're still developing him as a route runner, and there's some room to grow. It's going to be tough to make this roster as a receiver, but Pringle has shown enough flashes that I would want to find a way to keep him around, at least on the practice.
Why not go right back to him, too? Pringle hauls that one in. You saw a nice little prompt from Travis Kelce there with a big smile on his face. So I think we're still going to give the preseason edge to Mahomes, Tyreek Hill in Atlanta, but 61 yards on that pass play. Impressive from McGloin to Byron Pringle. So, yeah, I'm sure Tyreek is saying, yeah, all right, now get in the end zone, Byron. Then you can show off your own moves. Out of the eye, Algernon Brown blocking for Darrell Williams. Nothing much doing there. Third down coming. Scouting report on Byron Pringle.
Yeah, Pringle is an undrafted free agent, comes in with the explosiveness and the ability to threaten with that speed. You're going to see one guy miss and then the explosiveness. I said he ran in the 4.3s. He's a high 4.3s, low 4.4s, and that's his game. Listen, you're not going to win a return specialist job here. There's too many guys that do it, starting with Tyreek Hill, and we've seen Tremaine Smith as well. But as a vertical threat that you can develop down the road, Pringle's an interesting player that they may want to keep on this practice squad.
He averaged 24 yards a catch his last year at Kansas State. Well, he has 4 catches in the preseason. He's averaging 23 yards a catch in the preseason. Now, a 61-yarder will bring that average up a whole lot, but
he's slipping. Now that's what he does. I mean, it's the explosive play that makes up for some of the other things in his game. He's got to be a little bit more consistent catching the ball in traffic. He's got to work getting in and out of his breaks as a route runner, but you can't coach some of that vertical ability and ability to create after the catch, and that's why I think Pringle's interesting. I know that early on they were really intrigued with him, and you get to more of the starters and you just didn't play a whole lot, but this is an outstanding opportunity for Pringle and other undrafted free agents to show that there's a place for me in this league.
On 3rd and 4, set up by the 61-yard completion from McGloin. Heavy pressure, McGloin, fade, Williams, touchdown! Darrell Williams hauls it in. Out of the backfield, and Matt McGloin caps it with a perfect toss on the wheel to Darrell Williams.
The throw is outstanding. It's just a kind of a teardrop throw in there. What impresses me so much is the anticipation. Just knowing where the receiver is going to be, in this case a running back, Williams, out of the backfield, just a simple short wheel route, and he puts the ball right where it belongs, and Williams continues, as easy as a catch as it was, but he continues to be a reliable outlet as a running back coming out and making catches. He's been very consistent in that regard. It was not a huge aspect of his game in college.
Well, for all of these Chiefs who are trying to make a 53-man roster, be it with KC or be it somewhere else around the NFL, they have put up the sizzle highlights that they were looking for tonight, because Matt McGloin goes 61 yards to Pringle with the deep shot over the top, and then the nice touch for the TD to Darrell Williams.
Yeah, McGloin had kind of struggled. The team did on a couple of drives in between, but this was clearly his best drive. Throwing the deep ball and showing he has the arm to get it down there, and then the timing and touch to drop it in. Really impressive drive by the Chiefs there. You know, got to 21-10. He started to feel like he was getting away from him again. It was a good drive to show kind of the grit that they had on the offensive side.
4 plays, 75 yards. That's a lot of ground in a hurry, and a successful drive for Matt McGloin. And after Brett Veach told us earlier this quarter, one of the things they're evaluating is pass-catching running backs out of the backfield. Darrell Williams does exactly that with some nifty hands, nifty route running to get in the end zone.
Yeah, and you see McGloin there. Listen, he's in a battle. He's in a battle. There's no question about it. With Chase Litton coming out of Marshall, the rookie, for that number 3 quarterback spot, and every piece of good tape you can put out there like he did on that drive is helpful.
Touchback on the kickoff from Harrison Butker. Coming up at halftime, we take a look at the Reggie Ragland's hometown roots and how his family brought him to where he is today. Plus, we hear from Patrick Mahomes as he finishes up his first preseason as QB1 We'll get his thoughts on how his team is coming together. That's coming up at the half. Let's go back to that touchdown again.
It's a really good job of that anticipation. Knowing that he's going to break free, knowing that Amaro got a little bit of a screen there, we'll call it, and knowing exactly where to put that ball on the outside so the linebacker couldn't get back in on the play.
Look in Hypermo, brought to you by Bud Light. On first down, Boyle to the outside. It is incomplete. Arian Springs in coverage there again. Springs is getting a lot of run at corner. The rookie out of Oregon, 6 foot, 205. And getting a lot of reps here in preseason game number 4.
He's played well. Everything he's done, he's finishing as a tackler, being in the right position. He's doing a nice job tonight.
Chiefs defense has given up touchdowns on the last 3 Packer possessions after the opening takeaway by Armani Watts, the interception. That is incomplete as well. Tremont Smith in coverage with a tough tackle to dislodge. Enforce in a hurry. 3rd and 10.
Yeah, and Smith, he gave up the big play earlier when there was just no pass rush, and Deshaun Kaiser had all the time in the world. But with Smith, he's another guy. I mean, the Chiefs love their speed, and you see from Smith, he's gotten a lot of run early this preseason in the return game. Very good ball awareness, very productive throughout his career.
Zips that one tipped in, incomplete. One more note there on Tremont Smith. He told the star, Eric Berry, always a role model back to junior high, so it's been huge for him as a Chief. Good, got his hands on the football again. Ben Neiman had the pick 6 in Atlanta, and Neiman has been everywhere for the Chiefs in the middle in this preseason.
He's going to want that one back, though. He wants to finish that one off, but I've said it early, fast eyes to get himself in position to go make a play. And coach's son, we've talked about it over and over again. He just knows the game and understands the game.
Recruited as a wide receiver to Iowa. Kerwin Williams grabs it just inside the 30. Williams falls forward to about the 33. So with 1:32, Chiefs offense brings it back. McGloin will be back at quarterback. And Neiman, undrafted free agent, didn't get invited to the compound, but you look at the inside linebackers to watch. Dorian O'Daniel, he's kind of an interesting player. He's kind of a hybrid for the Chiefs.
He is. He's played a little bit tonight. You see his opportunity. I think that they believe he can be a dime linebacker and can continue to develop. Throughout his career, O'Daniel at Clemson was versatile, and you could move him around. He could cover the slot. He could cover the overhang. You see Neiman there. Those are the 2 that I think are going to wind up making the team. It's interesting, though, with Ukeme and Ukeme Aligwe, I can say that very fast and easily, and Terrence Smith, the 2 players that are kind of still trying to find a spot on this roster and make sure that they're a part of it. I think Aligwe is going to wind up. Terrence Smith has not had the best preseason, struggling a little bit with the ankle, but that's a tough competition there when you start to look at the guys behind Anthony Hitchens and Reggie Ragland.
Well, Dorian O'Daniel, you see him there, the 5 tackles already tonight for Dorian O'Daniel.
And he was a team captain. He's a tweener, strong safety, outside linebacker, 6'1", around 225 pounds. Tied for the most special teams tackles in the history of Clemson. So right there, you just see the versatility that he brings from special teams and being able to play multiple roles on the defensive side.
McGloin, 2nd down, incomplete. We check in with BJ.
Guys, you're talking about the inside linebackers, and it was a pretty special last month or so for their inside linebackers coach, Mark DeLeon, as he and his wife, Molly, welcomed their first child, a son, Raphael Joseph, who was born on August 5th, right in the middle of training camp. I talked with Coach DeLeon about it a few times. He was able to go back and forth. He was ready for the team to come back from St. Joe so he could be there every day and get a chance to spend some more time with his son.
Awesome, and congratulations to grandfather George DeLeon, longtime offensive line coach in the NFL. He's now the offensive line coach at Baylor, been an offensive coordinator as well. McGloin, 3rd down, incomplete. Intended for Garrett Dieter. There was a lot of contact. Dieter certainly wanted the flag. None coming on 3rd down.
That's not interference, but the one down the sideline, the hand checking was, huh?
I think that's what Garrett's saying.
See him in the slot here, working against 39. Does a good job getting off the line with the press. You can't. That's holding. Beyond 5 yards, trying to get out of his break.
Dustin Colquitt hangs it high, the longest tenured Kansas City Chief. Late fair catch, take it just about the 15-yard line with 1:09 left. In a 4-point bowl game, there is a flag down. Chance to tell you that the last 8 snaps of this football game, 6 incompletions, 2 punts, 47 seconds of game time.
Week 4 of the preseason. It's a treat.
Now we got to sort of this flag.
Let's not overthink this one, guys.
We know it's not pass interference.
There are 2 fouls by the receiving team. Illegal substitution by the receiving team is declined. There's also holding, receiving team number 58. That penalty is administered from the end of the kick, 10 yards, first down.
Good communication there. I was looking to see the indication from Coach Reed. But he likes it. Back him up. And you have a chance to make an electric play now with the Packers backed up. 1:09 left in the second quarter. Tim Boyle quarterbacking the Packers. We have not seen the $100 million guaranteed man, Aaron Rodgers, as you would expect. That's a good week. You get $100 million in guaranteed money and the day off. Right, that's, man, that's having it all.
He's earned it.
No question.
And if you can earn that much money, then he's earned it.
Leon McQuay on the stop. I mean, now this is when it just gets fun. Was that, I believe that was Eric Fisher running zone read down there. I really like that. Nice move. Boyle's going to take the sack. Yeah, I think that was Eric Fisher running a little read option football on the sideline, because that's what you need from your left tackle, is the ability to be a read option quarterback if you really need it. He was selling the fake too.
Tyreek Hill's working it with him. He's got a chance.
Okay, there you go. Yep. You got to read it. You got to look at that.
Practicing the mesh point.
Yes.
You got to work that mesh point.
Now, here we are talking about how Chad Henne is helping the quarterbacks. You're really helping your left tackle.
Bro, I don't do the zone read option.
Brings almost might know more about running the zone read than Chad Henne does at this point. Yes, very good, very good. The mesh point is just right. He's reading the end, seeing if he's crashing outside or coming inside.
He's got it down. He did play Oregon, right?
Right,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Looks familiar.
Third down, flag down, and that's going to negate this kick out the back of the end zone. That would have been a safety, but it's all coming back because of the flag.
Caught a break.
Mm-hmm.
They flinched first.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense number 55. Half the distance to the goal, remains third down. There's no additional foul in the play. Third down.
That's just a bad sequence there for Dylan Day, the center. Okay. That's just as bad as it gets. Break for the Packers, and that was not live. So 3rd and 14. Boyle from his own end zone, complete over the middle. O'Daniel with his 6th tackle already tonight.
That's what he does best. You want to allow him to work in space, cover in the flats. You can send him off the edge every once in a while. He's showing why they decided to use a mid-round draft pick on him and what he can continue to develop. And it's really good to see, because so far this preseason he's not been able to play to the level that he was hoping to. You see the scouting report, tackles well, has good range. This game is built on speed and instincts. Love his attitude, the motor, the leadership. And then third downs, as I talked about, they're going to want to use him at some point this year. I bet you he becomes their dime linebacker, where he comes in and even some nickel situations with obvious passing downs because he can cover and also support the run if necessary.
Kerwin Williams is back, setting up for a return. Williams has it. Packers get down in a hurry to wrap up Williams at the 40-yard line. Andy Reid used the timeout prior to the punt, so 22 seconds, and still have one timeout left. So an excellent possession. 4 plays, 75 yards. Matt McGloin down the field. But this is a huge discussion for the rest of this ball game. Matt McGloin versus Chase Litton for the third QB spot.
It's a tough call. There's a lot of dynamics that go into this, and we'll have the whole second half to talk about it. It's not just the talent or experience or how they're playing. It's also the quarterback room. How do these guys get along with the other quarterbacks? So it's really interesting to see. This is where the coaching staff and the front office really have to work together to communicate and figure out what's best for this team.
McGloin steps up. He's doing his part, finding Byron Pringle to the 46. There's the timeout from Andy Reid with 13 seconds. So chance to get one more shot, maybe set up for 3 at the end of this half at the sideline.
Listen, McGloin's more experienced. He can probably provide a little bit more in the quarterback room right now. Litton, rookie coming in, probably should have stayed at Marshall, but he's loaded with tools. He's got big arm. He can drive it vertically. You can develop him into a really good backup in the NFL down the road. What do you want to do? I mean, that's the decision you've got to make. And like I said, I think it's almost as much about the coaching staff and Patrick Mahomes as it is about what Brett Veach and the front office want to do. And I think Veach is going to, in this situation, be very open to that communication between the coaching staff and the starting quarterback, as he should be.
McGloin gonna throw deep out and leave about 8 seconds on the clock. So you have right now in the quarterback room 3 guys who started an NFL game. Patrick Mahomes, yes, was week 17, but got his 1 start. Then Henne and McGloin.
Yep. Second down and 10 from the 46-yard line.
Oh, we'll see if McGloin can close out the drive, and you would anticipate second half would be Chase Litton's.
Litton's played well. He's limited the turnovers and the key mistakes so far this preseason. Be interested to see if he can continue to do that tonight, assuming he does play the whole second half.
McGloin, deep shot, last play, once and all for Pringle. It is intercepted in the end zone, but relatively inconsequential. You take the deep shot intended for Pringle, and it's picked off, sending us to the half. So, an offensive first half, back and forth. Green Bay scored on 3 straight drives, but it's a 4-point game at the break, 21-17. Pringle had the 61-yard grab, and the Chiefs order preseason game number 4, 21-17. Carter Blackburn, Todd McShay, BJ Kissel is on the sideline. All right, 21-17. It's a pretty action-packed first half.
It has been, and we saw early on in the game, I thought it was really promising, especially when a lot of the second teamers and potentially a guy or two that could wind up in a starting role. They made some big plays. You saw the interception by Amani Watts early on, and then driving down the field when Chad Henne was still in there. So some very positive stuff early on in this game. As you see, Armani Watts with the instincts, the eyes to get there, and then finishing off. Been working to the tight end Ellis, who has had an up and down camp so far, but has really played well early in this game. And then finally the other tight end, Demetrius Harris, reaching back and making the tough catch behind him. Henne 4 for 5 on that first drive, finished off what has been an outstanding camp and really solidified him as the number 2 quarterback here.
Drive of the half of those outstanding plays brought to you by Hy-Vee. And so it'll be the offense. Remember, the Chiefs won the toss and deferred. It's all McGloin in the hat, so as we anticipated, probably have Chase Litton as the quarterback the rest of the way. Byron Pringle is going to be back to receive this kickoff. Pringle, who's had the 61-yard catch in the first half. Pringle from the back of the end zone. Pringle looking for a seam on the outside. Has a 25. Across the 40-yard line, Pringle, tightrope walking, finally shoved out. We'll see where they mark Pringle out of bounds. Back at the 41-yard line is where Pringle is marked out, but another explosive play from the rookie out of K-State.
First of all, if he caught this 5 yards out of the back of the end zone, he was still going to try to return it. Secondly, look at the jets he turns on right there. The ability with the quick stiff arm, and then he goes and walks the tightrope. This guy's speed makes it so intriguing. That's why I said earlier, you got to find a way to try to keep him around and develop him as a receiver, because there's so much explosiveness to work with Pringle.
Linton is a quarterback, handing off to Darrell Williams, and another big hole as Williams gets 12 on the first snap of the second half. Let's check in with BJ.
Guys, I had a chance to talk with Coach Reed going into halftime about that drive, Todd, that you mentioned, with Chad Henne going 4 or 5 for 33 yards and a touchdown. And the first thing that Reed wanted to tell me was that the offensive line did a great job to give him some time to throw the football, which makes a lot of sense coming from a former offensive lineman, something he wishes that the second-team offensive lineman would have given McGloin a little bit more time on his drives.
No question. I do like that, how no matter the flash and the touchdowns for Andy Reid, hey, it's about the O-line, and always has been, always will be. But he also likes a versatility, and talking about the O-line, I mean, that's always going to be part of the evaluation of not just slotting 5 guys in 5 places, but you're looking from this group, including Ryan Hunter, the rookie out of Bowling Green, play a couple different positions, so you can mix and match, and injuries happen throughout the season. You can move guys around, and that is always on Andy Reid's mind.
Well, and a guy like Andrew Wiley, I think is a perfect example of what you're talking about. Andrew Wiley comes in, and from Eastern Michigan, 6'6", 309-pounder, unbelievable test scores at his pro day. He wasn't invited to the combine coming out in the draft. He had 1.5 inches off of the highest vertical jump ever by an offensive lineman at the combine, but he just did it at his pro day. His broad jump tied for the best at the combine of offensive linemen. He had the 4th best 3-cone drill. So the tools have always been there. He just needed to get stronger, add a little bit of bulk, and continue to learn the game. And that's what he's done, to the point where Brett Veach told us the other day when we were on the conference call with him that he may wind up as a starter at left guard, and he certainly has played well enough to earn a roster spot with us this year. It's been what a great story coming out of Eastern Michigan, and not knowing if you have a spot and just grinding it through last year, and now knowing that you have a spot on this roster and you're at least the 6th man on this offensive line.
Did that surprise you that he may have a shot at that left guard starting spot?
A little bit, but I mean, Cam Irving brings some versatility where he could play inside and outside. Wiley brings versatility where he can move around with that length. He could play guard or he could play tackle. Irving, his best spot could possibly be at center. He's played pretty well, but he just has never lived up. I thought he was going to be a great starter this week, to be completely honest with you, coming out of Florida State. And Irving has just kind of struggled inside of that guard position in the NFL, in 2 stops now. And so Wiley is putting the heat on him, and you know what? It's a great problem to have, where you've got a backup that's legitimately pushing one of the starters. And even if he's not an upgrade and doesn't win the starting job, at least he's lighting the fire under Irving and making sure that he's showing up to work every day.
Well, one of the things Andy Reid told us about Cameron Irving is he's changed his body. So second year as a Chief, he was traded last August after being a first-round pick at 15 by the Browns, and he's making the most, apparently, of this second chance with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Well, he was a left tackle starter at Florida State for a few years. Moved into center his senior year and went from kind of a mid-round prospect to the #1 center in the draft in a later first-round draft pick. Comes to the league, and for whatever reason, it doesn't work out in his initial stop, and winds up getting traded here to what I thought was a really good situation, because his strength has always been his movement skills and his agility, and that's what you're looking for in this offensive system with the zone blocking and the movement that they do. And it just, he's played well. I'm not saying he's played poorly, but to have a guy like Wiley push him is not a bad thing.
Chase Litton, the rookie out of Marshall, at quarterback on 2nd and 9. Litton rolling, just throws it away. So you talk about Chase Litton and Matt McGloin, and McGloin clearly brings the experience. He started in the NFL. Chase Litton, the huge arm. He's from the Tampa area, Wharton High School in Winter Park. But for Wentz his senior year, He decided to bypass his
decided to forego his
Right,
senior
he
year.
decided to forego. There you go.
Oh, no, you're asking the wrong guy. 20-14 as a starter at Marshall. I thought his best tape that he had out there was the NC State games, his final year this past year. But they almost upset NC State. Really had no business hanging around with that good football team. He hung in there, made some great throws, big-time NFL throws, took a beating. I love his toughness and his ability to hang in there and shake some defenders because he's such a big, strong guy. His arm, you can see it. I mean, he's in the very top echelon in terms of arm strength. What he's got to do is to continue to work on, if that first read isn't there, can he get to his second progression and third without making a mistake and without forcing the ball? And then his pocket awareness, feeling pressure come in. So those are two areas that they're going to want to work with him to improve upon. It's a really good place to be. And if I'm Chase Litton, I'm hoping I win this job because not many guys in the league that I would choose over Andy Reid to coach me as a quarterback.
Butker's field goal makes it a 1-point game at Arrowhead.
Hail alma mater, we sing to thee. Thy name forever a guiding light shall be. Strong as an oak tree, thy name shall never fail.
Of the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, there's getting run on, and there's giving up 8 rushing touchdowns on the way to 56 points. That is embarrassing if you're on the other side, and if you're the Kansas City Chiefs, it's worth celebrating still in 2018. Remarkable. All right, 1-point game. The QBs are huddling. All of them to break it down.
Talking about dinner tonight?
Yeah, I'm sure it is. See what the late night menu is at the Peanut. So only one of those guys is probably going to wear a helmet tonight. We anticipate wearing a helmet tonight. And that being Chase Litton, because Mahomes had the visor on from the get-go. Henne, first drive touchdown. Matt McGloin.
I like those hats.
I do too.
I have to grab one.
Williams tonight, 8 rushes, 34 yards, 3 catches, and a TD. So excellent night for Darrell Williams. See the Chiefs defense trying to make some plays and make some impressions as we check in with BJ Kissel.
All right, thanks, guys. Down here with Chiefs left tackle Eric Fisher. Eric, first question, just what about the work that you guys did this offseason as an offense getting ready to go in 10 days from now and play the Los Angeles Chargers?
Yeah, I mean, just having a new quarterback there in the huddle with Pat, he's done an awesome job just grinding to learn that playbook. I mean, there's a lot that Coach Reid throws at us, and I mean, I couldn't imagine the stuff that he had to learn in the short amount of time he's been here. But yeah, we're doing awesome. We're looking forward to game 1. Got the night off tonight, but we're ready to get to work next week.
One of the questions I want to ask you about, something you and I have talked about, your passion project during the offseason for the last 4 years. Tell me why it was a Chevelle, and tell me the process of what it took to get that car restored to where I saw it in the parking lot today.
Yeah, I've been dreaming for 4 years to drive that thing to a game, and I finally did that tonight. I didn't know if the rain was going to hold off, but it did, so I was able to get it here, and that was cool. But yeah, it was a nightmare of a project, as they all are. But I'm so glad it's done. It's nice to look at it now, and I'm happy with it.
Can you tell me the story of when Laurent took a ride in it, and have any of your other teammates since then taken a ride?
He asked me again tonight. He's like, "Can I drive that thing home?" I don't think so. Yeah, he comes in one day and he's just like, "Hey, can I take a ride in it?" And I was like, "Sure." He's like, he hops in. He's like, "I don't think I've been in anything with over 200 horsepower." It's like, "Well, you better hold on then, because it's got quite a bit of power behind it, and it's a pretty fun drive."
All right, last question is, what is that engine? I know you told me once before, I'm not a car guy. What is the engine in that thing?
It's a GM crate motor, LS9 motor. It's what they put in the Corvette ZR1. Stock 638 horsepower, and maybe a little bit more.
All right, perfect. Thanks, Eric. Appreciate your time.
Thanks.
I followed every piece of that engine breakdown there from Eric.
Sounds like something that Boeing makes.
Yeah.
For planes.
And so speaking of cars and rebuilding and an offensive lineman in their project, this offseason, Coach Reed showed off his father's 1927 Ford Model A. He had the car restored after his Super Bowl with the Packers in '97. It has been with him ever since. I'm just going to guess that Eric's car is going to have more horsepower than that lovely vehicle. How cool is that? His dad's 1927 Ford Model A.
Really cool.
The offensive linemen in their cars. I like how you think about all these things that Eric Fisher's done in his football career. What does he want to do in 2018? I really want to drive my car to the game. I mean, it's just as simple as that. Well done.
Sounds like he got here in a hurry, too.
It sounds like he can get anywhere he wants to in a hurry with that thing. And Dr. Larry's not backing off his request, too. I like that as well. I mean, that's a window into the offensive lineman's world, isn't it? Tremont Smith is back for the punt after the Chiefs D gets a 3-and-out.
Between Smith and Hill and DeAnthony Thomas and Pringle.
He lost the football. Looked like the Packers are on top. And they are. So Smith fumbles it. All that speed, but couldn't hang on to the football.
Is a fumble with recovery by the kicking team.
So Smith coughs it up. Packers recover. Looked like Greer Martini got on top of that football.
It's just about to say how much depth they have in the return game. And Smith will be fine. I mean, they love what they've seen from him. He's a developmental corner who only continued to get better, has the quickness, has the speed, has the playmaking ability when the ball's in the air. And he's been a really good returner so far in the preseason. He's going to have to clean that up a little bit, but they've seen enough from him to know that he has the potential to be a contributor in this league.
And so a special teams turnover. They may want to have another look.
The ruling on the field of a fumble with recovery by the kicking team is under review. We'll review the play.
And we will review it with them in a one-point game in the third.
When it comes to prime.
Well, good news for the Chiefs. During that review, Tremont Smith ruled down by contact, so no fumble. And the Chiefs get the football.
You know how happy Smith is right now?
Yes. Yes. And there you go. So Chiefs football, that's 3 straight 3 announced by the defense. Chiefs President Mark Donovan joins us now for season game number 4. And I like how you got a little magic going when you walk in the booth and it's a turnover, and then as soon as Mark is here, it's right back to Chiefs football.
It all gets cleaned up.
Look at Pringle, and there's another huge one in the pass game. This is magic.
It is. That kid's having a night.
Big night.
It sure is. Byron Pringle. So 40 yards on that one for Pringle. Had 61 earlier. You know, BJ's been asking all of the players how much fun is this in preseason game number 4 to watch these guys who are fighting for roster spots, make plays. How much fun is it for you to watch these guys?
You know, it's exciting. It's exciting to see young guys trying to make a team. And remember, they're trying to make this team first and foremost, but as Todd knows, they're putting stuff on film. And, you know, this year, especially with the cut down the way it is, you're going to have a lot of guys hitting the marketplace at the same time, and every single play matters.
There is Darrell Williams again. And, of course, we got Red Friday coming up as well.
Yeah, Red Friday. We're really excited about the 27th version of Red Friday, September 7th. We'll be launching the collectible Chiefs Kingdom flags. You know, it's such a great tradition for our organization, for this city. But even better than that, it's become a great charitable cause with the Ronald McDonald House, and raised over $300,000 last year and hope to beat that this year.
That's fantastic.
I got my first flag.
You like how Todd
Chiefs Kingdom flag.
Already flying the flag in the kingdom?
Right.
That's
I have it
fantastic.
the right way? All right.
No, you don't. But that's all right. No, your prop failed.
That's unbelievable. There we go. Now
there. All right. That is fantastic. We got a false start.
There we go.
We got a false start on McShay.
This is the last broadcast I'm doing.
That is a false start on McShay. If for all those evaluating.
One job.
One job.
One job.
Oh, now Todd did his best to get in on flag for Red Friday, but I know that's been a fun thing that not only for the Chiefs organization but all around this area, and we've talked about how wide an impact and imprint this organization has, and that's evidence.
Yeah, I mean, so September 7th we'll kick it off 7 a.m. in the morning. People will be able to go to McDonald's locations in Kansas City and St. Joe. They'll be able to go to Community America. They'll be able to go to Hy-Vee stores to get their red flag. It's a new collector's edition, as Todd so gracefully showed everyone. and then at McDonald's this year, we're doing the golden flags. So there'll be 10 golden flags out there.
Ooh. That's incomplete. Explain the golden flag.
So Willy Wonka, right?
Yeah.
So the 10 golden flags. So these flags will be, some lucky person will go to the McDonald's drive-thru. They'll get their coffee and their Egg McMuffin and their Chiefs flag, and it'll be the golden flag, which will give them tickets to our home opener. We'll give them VIP access.
Nice.
And then we'll also give them a jersey. And then Big Macs for a year.
Wow, do you get a ride in the glass elevator too?
Yeah,
Is that
exactly. Oompa Loompa and everything else.
You saw that note. Since 2014, over $900,000 raised. And you can see why there's such pride in this event throughout the kingdom. Dieter makes the grab there.
That is really what makes it special. You know, 87 families tonight will be at a Ronald McDonald House here in Kansas City. And they need the services of Ronald McDonald Houses, and that's every night. So the money that we raise through this and that our fans actually generate for go directly back to the Ronald McDonald House here in Kansas City, and it's why we do what we do.
It's fantastic. 3rd and 6 here. Litton on 3rd and 6. Going to take off. He's going to toss to the end zone, and it's bobbled and hold. No, it's incomplete. Incomplete. Well, the Chiefs were ready to celebrate. Jisson got 2 hands
you were the
on
lucky
it.
charm.
That's right. I mean, out of bounds. There you go. Left foot out of bounds. So field goal. I want to get the rest of the update in the kingdom, but we've got. There is a Packer down, and that will give us a moment to step aside.
Boy, it's taking like a real TV timeout.
It'd be so weird out here without music.
Can we ask
this off season was, let's take preseason and look at it differently, and more of the box-to-box pictures, more keeping the fans here. I know Todd's been taking grief for his prop skills, but you know, I think he's really added to the broadcast the last 2 games, and good kick there, huh?
Chiefs on top.
So just the, you know, a little bit more insight, a little bit more detail, go a little deeper with the guys who are on the field, and who knows him better than Todd? You know, he's studied every single one of these guys coming out, so it's a way to make the broadcast a little bit different, hopefully a little bit better, and give our fans a different perspective of what these guys go through to get to this level, and then hopefully to stay at this level. So,
well, we're having fun.
Yeah, really excited about the broadcast. Really excited about, you know, I'd love to say it's all Todd, but I think our young quarterback and the work that Brett and Andy have done with our team.
It's a fun team.
It's a fun team to watch, and that's come through in ratings. I mean, we had our highest rating our first preseason game, and about one of the highest ratings since 2008. Every single game this year in our preseason has been rated higher than the game previous year. So we're trending in the right direction, and we're really excited to get the season started. I mean, that's the most exciting part about tonight. We get a day closer to going out and playing the Chargers.
I think the ones are having fun down there, Todd. I think Patrick's enjoying his night back in the visor for the full night.
Yeah, you get to take a little time off, at least one day, and try to help the other guys.
Now, my cause, my cleats. It's down the road a little bit, but I know this is something that not only Kansas City Chiefs, the NFL has really made an enjoyable and impactful way for players to make a statement in their causes.
So our December 9th game against the Ravens, the cool thing we've done with it is, as you can see from the shoes, the guys design their own shoes and they highlight the charities or the causes that they want to work with, that they are working with, and that they want to benefit. What we've done is we've said, if you buy a single game ticket to that game, you can pick which player you want to associate with, and $10 from that ticket will go to that player's charity. So it's a way of really bringing that home to the charity.
And the fans have that choice as to which player and which charity.
Yep, any single game ticket, they can go on to, when they're buying their ticket, they actually pick the player that they want to support and the cause they want to support, and $10 will go directly to that charity.
How do you design your cleats?
So these guys, you know, as you know, these players are really competitive. So the artists that they work with and the musical acts that they talk to and the things they try to put on those cleats, they make them collector's items themselves.
And I like how it allows, you know, players to make those decisions about what they want to support and really highlight their causes. And but already some amazing stories about why these Chiefs players are choosing their different causes.
I think that's exactly right. I think the fact that we are talking more and more with our players about what's important to them, and then not just talking about it, but supporting the things that are important to them. We do so much in our community. We've done it since the day that Lamar brought the team here. And there are so many charities that have benefited from the Chiefs, and the Chiefs are the players as much as the organization. This is an opportunity to say to them, okay, what's important to you? What are the things that we can do together? A lot of it overlaps because of the things we do are pretty similar, but a lot of it is just stuff like this week I was at an event with Steve Nelson, and it was his event. He created it. It was about nutrition at a youth center in downtown Kansas City, and we went and supported him because that was important to him. And it's an example of those kind of programs that we're working together to have a positive impact in our community.
You know, I go out to college games every week during the regular season, and you can see in a lot of those smaller towns and, you know, the environments, it's such a community, and you can see them rally around the team. And not all NFL cities and teams have that same support. I see it here with the Chiefs. It reminds me a lot of a college town, the ownership and the love that the fans have for the players, and the players giving back to the community. It's really cool to see.
And it's empowering guys like Steve Nelson, right? Like, what's your idea? What do you want to do? How can we make that happen? And then supporting him when he goes and does it. And that just builds momentum in the locker room.
And I really liked how Stephen is part of it. You can see it's about activity, health, fitness, diet, all these things that can help you in your athletic career, but in your life. And that was one of the things that he wanted to emphasize.
And when you talk more and more to the players, it's things that impacted their life. You know, a lot of the players that we've talked to, and Clark has talked to players this offseason, I've talked to players, coach, GM, Brett's talked to guys, and it's just saying, hey, this is what I saw when I was growing up. How can I have an impact on that for some other kid coming up? And it's fun to work on those things together.
And so speaking of youth outreach, which I know is another major initiative along those same lines, and that one is picked off again. It is the second interception of the game for Armani Watts, the opening drive pick, and now the rookie out of Texas A&M does it again. There is a flag down. But it is still a remarkable play by Armani Watts. We await the word from Brad Allen.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 93 of the intercepting team. Kansas City will keep possession of the ball. 15 yards will be administered. First down and 10.
Not a good moment on the penalty for Mike Purcell, but a heck of a grab by Armani Watts for his second pick of preseason game number 4.
And he was a ball hawk as a 4-year starter at Texas A&M, and you see there, I mean, the first interception he got, his eyes got him in that position to make a play, and it wasn't a difficult catch. This one's big time, and this is a big-time wide receiver going down and tracking the football, hauling it in. 2 interceptions tonight. He had 10 interceptions during his career at Texas A&M, and you see the playmaking impact and the potential that Watts could have for this football team down the road.
So after 3 3-and-outs, the defense responded. I mean, 3 straight 3-and-outs, and then the second takeaway, both of them by Armani Watts. Well, Marcus, we talked about how much fun it is to watch these guys making plays in preseason game number 4. I would say Armani Watts qualifies with that remarkable second pick of the night.
Yeah, I don't watch a lot of film. Brett every once in a while shares some highlights, and I remember seeing highlights of that kind of a play from Armani Watts at Texas A&M.
Sounds like Brett dragged everyone in the film room to watch that Arkansas game. I don't blame him.
So before that remarkable interception, I was going to ask you about the youth outreach efforts.
Yeah.
And where that is headed in 2018.
We had 5,000 young football players out here tonight, and a couple of them got to actually play on the field tonight, which is a pretty cool treat for those guys. We do a ton with our youth football outreach. We've done a lot locally. We continue to do more than just football. So we had a youth camp this year with, there's a highlight from the game tonight. We did a youth football camp with Will Shields this year with a Legends camp where kids could actually learn from a Hall of Famer, which is one of the cool things, again, about Kansas City is those guys like Will are in town and they're willing to do things like that. We also had almost 100 young ladies out here doing cheerleading last game that we had here. So it's just, goes back to the Play 60 events that we do with the NFL and keeping kids active and playing 60 minutes a day.
I think Shea was taking notes during that youth game to get ahead.
But I was sitting here grabbing a quick bite during halftime and watching. Every time there was a big player score, everyone in the stands standing up and cheering. Can you imagine being a young man coming here, Arrowhead Stadium, and having a standing ovation for you? I mean, it's a really cool moment.
It is, and Todd and I were talking about that as well, about coming into Arrowhead and how special it is, because this is a preseason game number 4, and yet the Kingdom is here, and the Kingdom is present, and it's the second half, and you have so many loyal fans, no matter what, are going to be there to support the Chiefs. And I'm not telling you anything new, but it's special to watch.
It's fun to be a part of. It is something that we don't take for granted. We appreciate our fans every single day. It's amazing to sit in my office at 6:30 in the morning on a game day and see people tailgating at our toll booths, waiting to get in to tailgate.
Wow.
And I will tell you, they're there every single time, including preseason.
Wow. And they're here right now with a 2-point lead. Now, we've been discussing the quarterback position, as we always do. With Patrick Mahomes taking the night off, Chad Henne, excellent first series. McGloin has executed some very difficult plays. And here goes Litton. That is inside the 20. Litton off his back foot. Wow, what a grab inside the 20-yard line. That's Smallwood, 29 yards. I mean, this is reminiscent of a quarterback I remember from the Brown days, and the deep balls that Mark Donovan would just zip around the field there at Brown.
You do notice that all those photos are black and white, right? I mean,
you had a good number, 13. A little knee brace in there, grinding.
Yeah, there were some real athletic shots you guys chose too. I appreciate that.
Todd always likes to break down verticals. Is that was that we couldn't find that measure?
Non-existent. They didn't measure it in those days.
Well, Litton is doing a fine job matriculating the Chiefs down the field. Mark, pleasure.
Always a pleasure. Thanks for what you guys do.
I'll work on my flag holding skills.
Stick to your day job, my friend. We appreciate you guys.
Oh, Mark Donovan, president of the Kansas City Chiefs. And I tell you what, the Chiefs showed up for Mark. We're here in the booth with the Chiefs rolling towards the end of the third quarter. Chase Litton has set him up for 1st and goal. And 1st and goal will be the first play of the 4th quarter, with the Chiefs by 2 headed to the 4th. I have to give credit to James Lofton, who's calling the game tonight for the Packers, because James actually got me my Coca-Cola. So nice, but I still didn't get you anything. So I'm sure we can line you up with the Coca-Cola before the end of this game. No question. No question. Litton hands off. Williams in the backfield, dropped for a loss on 1st and goal. So first play of the 4th quarter is 1st and goal for the Chiefs. Well, we've seen good performances by all 3 quarterbacks that we've seen tonight, and Litton has done his part here as the competition continues between McGloin and Litton. Henne 4 for 5, touchdown opening possession.
How about Jordan Smallwood, too? That big catch down the field. He only had 18 catches during his career at Oklahoma. They're loaded at wide receiver, I get it, but with his size and his speed, 6'2", 203, undrafted free agent, he comes in and, listen, he's not going to make this football team. It's just the situation that it is because they're so deep. But to be able to show other teams in the league what you can do, and maybe one day down the road, if there's some depth issues, maybe get on the practice squad and continue to work at it. So many good stories. That's my favorite part. I mean, these guys I study all year long, the backgrounds, the character, you know, and then you see them 3-4 years later bouncing around from camp to camp. You know, the life of the NFL player seems so glorious, but it's for these guys, the journeymen, it's a constant grind.
Litton trying to grind it out here, just heaved the football to the end zone and then almost had a chance to make a play on the outside. It was Ellis who nearly tracked that one down. The corner of the end zone. Litton fortunate to get rid of that one without a huge sack or a turnover. Very fortunate.
You see the arm strength, the ability to just throw off his back foot. He's got arm talent, as they say. A lot to work with.
28-yard field goal coming from Harrison Butker. Easily good. Chiefs lead it 26-21. So as we talk about who's fighting it out for the roster spots of the 53 for the Chiefs, the Saturday 3 p.m. cut down to 53. Of course, we're 10 days away, most importantly, from Week 1 regular season. And then your focus shifts right back to who's going to be your starters. These are the projected Week 1 starters, what the Chiefs are saying on their official depth chart. So how do you evaluate the offensive line at this point?
Well, I think they've played well as a group, and I think the emergence of Andrew Wiley, as we talked about, coming out of Eastern Michigan and continuing to develop physically, gives them that sixth guy, and maybe he pushes his way into the starting job at left guard. And these are the weapons. I mean, this is what makes this team potentially special, is when you have a quarterback in Patrick Mahomes with the weapons around him, Tyreek Hill, the vertical ability and the ability to create. Travis Kelce, arguably, I would say he's the second best tight end in the NFL, and he's not far away from Gronk anymore, in my opinion, what he's done. And then having a running back like Hunt to catch the ball out of the backfield, create yards after contact. There's just so many different things that an offensive mind like Andy Reid can take advantage of. We haven't seen anything. They're just scratching the surface in terms of what they can do versatility-wise from an offensive scheme standpoint.
Now, meanwhile, for the defense, and a lot of changes in the offseason as well, including bringing in Williams at nose tackle, the Kansas City native, and then the linebacking core, the Anthony Hitchens at inside linebacker, one of the big splash moves of the offseason.
Well, we've almost seen none of this group all playing together. Plus, Derek Nottie comes in as a third-round pick, not playing tonight, which is rare for an Andy Reid team. He could be a starter, or if not, he's going to be right in the rotation as an impact player. Justin Houston, D. Ford, you've got Breeland, who we've talked a lot about, who's going to be in that rotation. And then the inside linebackers played basically a half of a game together in Ragland and Hitchens. So this is the area I think you're gonna see some work done in that secondary. I think Kendall Fuller's a really good starter and has played great since he's come here. The opposite side with Nelson, I think he can be a solid starter. They need to bring in some more depth, and it won't surprise me if you see some moves in that secondary as we get closer to Week 1. Safeties have been injured. Eric Berry's going to be back. Armani Watts played really well tonight. They've got some other guys that could possibly sneak in there. But I think cornerback and safety with some depth could be the areas that you see Kansas City try to make some moves and some roster movement in terms of bringing in guys who can potentially become upgrades.
And still don't know when Daniel Sorensen will be back, evaluated about 6 weeks after the broken leg, but still don't know when that projected starter at safety will be back. So Eric Murray and Orlando Scandrick, who's not going to play tonight, but Orlando Scandrick brought in.
T.Y. McGill again. He keeps flashing. He fired off the ball and just ruined that play from the get-go. Yeah, I think the two big questions coming into the year, coming into the preseason for the Chiefs, were the secondary and the offensive line. I think the offensive line has continued to gel and is playing at a higher level, and I think they have more answers than questions than they had beginning the preseason. I think the secondary is going to be the one area that you're going to see Brett Veach continue and his staff grind through all the tape.
Interception. There's the third of the night by the Chiefs defense. Dorleant is going to take it. Wow. McKenton Dorleant, 30 yards on the pick six.
Great job. You see 43 right there. Great job passing off the receiver to the middle of the field. He had zone responsibility there. He worked his eyes to the quarterback and saw the ball coming out. He comes back and allows his eyes to get there to make the play, and then it's just the quickness and athleticism after the fact and the will to get in that end zone.
The second-year player out of Northern Iowa with the third interception. Flags are down all over the place. McKenton Dorleant.
False start. Kicking team. 5-yard penalty. We will run the try.
We were just talking about that secondary and adding depth and moving guys around. Dorleant certainly showing that he's got some potential to work with.
Butker's PAT, easily good, even after the penalty. 3 interceptions by the Chiefs D. Last 5 possessions, 3 and outs, back-to-back picks by the Chiefs D. /Blue KC, the Chiefs Kingdom champion, is powered by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. On the Blackburn, Todd McShay, BJ Kissel, wishing the Green family well. They're at Purdue tonight as TJ is getting a chance to quarterback the Northwestern Wildcats, and so best to the Green family. And Todd, you have an update now in the third quarter.
Good update for Northwestern and for the Green family. Northwestern leads 31-24, 2 minutes left in the third quarter. And TJ Green has a rushing touchdown and has completed 6 of 9 passing so far. So great job by TJ Green.
Well, we know Trent is with us in spirit here in the Kingdom. But that is fantastic for the Green family, and hope they get to enjoy that tonight as we check in with BJ Kissel.
Thanks, Carter. Down here with Chiefs center Mitch Morris. Mitch, first thing I got to ask, over the offseason, I know you had the foot surgery. Just how's the foot feeling right now?
Yeah, it feels about as good as you look, which is awesome. No, it came along, slowly but surely. It's something that took patience and time and a lot of dedication from the training staff, which is A1 steak sauce here. They're great people from top to bottom. It was some trying times like any surgery, but the guys really kind of brought me along, and I hopefully returned the favor, and it came out to be really good.
We made a lot in the media, a big deal of the offensive weapons and everything, and Patrick Mahomes and all the different weapons at his disposal. How much fun is it to be the guy kind of in the center of the action to help make sure that all those weapons can be utilized?
Yeah, I don't know why I'm not an offensive weapon. I'm out there, good-looking dude. I know. No, it makes it fun, and it makes our jobs really, not that we're not fighting on our tails off every play, but we have guys out there who are, really important that we give them time to. Air the ball out to. So it's nice. It's cool to be in the huddle and see how many guys we have, who could really make plays.
Yeah, surprisingly, you got married.
Cam was behind me, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Surprisingly, you got married a couple of months ago. I'm curious, what's the best marriage advice you got from a teammate over the last couple months?
Yeah, I think when someone told me, Mitch, when you outkick your coverage like you have, and she has declared temporary insanity and saying yes to. I will marry you, expedite the process as fast as you can. Whatever she says, just say yes. And I did, and it worked out well.
All right, and last question is, now that you've been married a couple months and you're an expert in marriage, just what advice would you give to any of your teammates that are getting married or anybody out there who's getting married soon?
You have no opinions that matter. Even if you think they do, they don't. Just say yes and you'll be fine.
Always a pleasure, Mitch.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Well, the always entertaining and enjoyable Mitch Moreeeee. He is certainly an offensive weapon as part of this Chiefs offensive juggernaut. It's not just Kelce and Hill and the Hunt and Mahomes. I mean, Mitch Moreeeee, the weapons that he brings to the table, Todd.
You can tell he doesn't like BJ at all, too.
No. All of the
first
kingdom,
back and forth.
All of the kingdom loves King Kissel. And now Mitch turned to chat with.
It's like a radio row right now.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's fantastic. That's pretty good advice all around on both wedding and marriage.
Yeah, if you outkick your coverage, you better get that done.
Get it done as quickly as possible. Mitch, of course, started at center since day one, coming out of Missouri, so he has a very special place, Chiefs fans. Defense played great since giving up 3 straight touchdown drives in the second quarter to the Green Bay Packers. Been tightened up no matter who's out there, including Dorleant with the.
Some of these third and fourth teamers are turning some heads. Chiefs have really outplayed Green Bay in just about every facet in the second half, which is good to see as a personnel guy in terms of the depth of your football team.
First down, couple yards. So we talked to Mitch about his wedding. Well, not the only offensive lineman to get married. In fact, not the only Mitch to get married. Mitchell and Brooke Schwartz get married this offseason in Cleveland, Ohio. After the wedding, honeymoon in Thailand.
Good for him.
So very adventurous. Yeah.
He outkicked his coverage too.
There's no question about it. Well done to the offensive lineman of the Kansas City Chiefs. You are very, very lucky men, Mitchell Schwartz and Mitch Moreeeee. Nice open field tackle by Redmond. Will Redmond, 3rd year out of Mississippi State, 2nd year with the Chiefs. The forced 3rd down. Talked about Mitch Schwartz exploring Thailand. With his culinary background, I guarantee you he did some food exploring around Thailand as well.
I've never been. I can't speak to it.
Yeah,
I'm guessing.
Nor have I, but I've always heard it's great. It's a great culinary destination as well. Some Gewürztraminer or Rieslings go nice with some spicy Thai food. We can discuss wine pairings more in the last 10:33.
4th quarter, game 4 preseason.
Oh, living on a prayer, rocking out, air guitar. I mean, that's pretty tight. I don't know. Reggie Ragland, Travis Kelce. Who do you give the air guitar karaoke advantage to between Reggie and Travis?
It looks like Travis has been working harder in the mirror at it. Looks like it comes a little bit more naturally to Reggie.
And then on the, I think Reggie was flying up and down. Looked like he actually maybe had some skills. Like he had the bottleneck, doing a little slide.
I think Travis was more concerned with, kind of the neck movement.
Right, the neck bombs. 3rd down, big gainer. Inside the Chiefs' 40-yard line. Jordan Stearns there makes the stop. But still, you have to respect the effort by both Travis and Reggie Ragland there with the air guitar. No question about it. No question about it.
They're getting to see what it feels like to be on the bench, stand around all night. Got to keep yourself warm and ready to go. Ready to get to the shower.
It's like relief pitchers in the bullpen right now.
Yep.
Loyal quarterbacking the Packers, thrown on the outside. Will Redmond there on the stop, and a little chatter back and forth. Will Redmond, 3rd round pick San Fran, but first year and a half on the IR, so he's trying to fight his way back onto a roster.
He's actually played well tonight. He's got some talent. He almost had the interception earlier in the game. He had the pass breakup a little bit ago.
Second and short. Oh, almost had another one. There's Redmond, got his hands on it.
He got beat initially, and he did a good job of getting his head around and getting back into the play. Just turned his head around in the last second.
Third and short coming. Boyle zips it, small window, knock, batted down, incomplete. Jordan Stearns gets in there to knock it away, forcing fourth down for the Packers. It looks like the offense is staying on the field for Green Bay.
Boyer keeps working that left side towards Redmond and Stearns keeps showing up making plays, and Redmond's done a nice job. A great job of not wrapping completely around with the right arm, gets that left arm in at the last second. Stearns does to break up the play.
That look in Hyperbowl brought to you by Bud Light. Now fourth down, Green Bay. Chiefs defense, which has been terrific since the early spurt from the Packers. Pressure, toss, incomplete. Redmond there in coverage again on the back end. Armani Watts had a chance at a third interception. Tyrone Holmes applies the pressure, and the Chiefs get a stop on fourth down with the lead in the fourth.
Let's look here. McKinnon Dorleant on the interception. You see here, dropping into coverage, releasing the inside receiver to the middle of the field, works his eyes back, and look at this view. It's a 360 panoramic view of the entire play. And a great job getting in the end zone by Dorleant. That was a look at true view from Intel. I need to get some of that technology at home.
No question. Very, very cool. So Chiefs offense takes over with Kerwin Williams at running back behind Chase Litton after that fourth down stop. The Chiefs defense has been impressive as we check in again with BJ Kissel. King Kissel.
Thanks, Carter. We're down here with Chiefs defensive lineman Chris Jones. Chris, first thing I got to ask, you're a guy who always has a good time. How much fun is it for you to watch these young guys?
It's exciting, you know. It's an opportunity for them to make the team or make someone else's team. And so it's exciting that I can get to see my brothers that I've been with through camp, you know, and fight for an opportunity.
All right, 10 days from now, you're going to be at the StubHub Center in Los Angeles taking on the Chargers. How ready do you feel and how confident are you in this group to go down there and face Phillip Rivers and those guys?
Oh, we're very confident. You know, AFC champs 2 years in a row. So, you know, we're going out there well prepared.
I asked the same question on the offensive side as far as the percentage of stuff that you guys have shown, because it's always pretty vanilla in the preseason. If you had to put a percent on the defensive things that you guys have shown, particularly on third down, what do you think that would be?
I would say 15%. They don't want to show much during the preseason, and, you know, they just want to get guys prepared and ready for the season.
All right, Chris, we're going to ask for your help right now because we've been talking on the broadcast that Red Friday is next Friday. You can go get your Chiefs Kingdom flags at Kansas City area McDonald's. All the proceeds go to Ronald McDonald House Charities, all things we've been talking about. And I've got a few flags for you. I was going to ask if you could go hand these out to some fans. Okay. Go hand it out to Chiefs Kingdom. So we're going to give you these. We're going to go right down there. We're going to go see Chiefs Kingdom.
Nice. Very nice.
Maybe he can hold it up the right
way. Maybe those kids can. Now, I witnessed how hard BJ had to work to get those props down there. Security's very tight. Everyone has to take a look. So, but it's all about that moment for Chris Jones getting the handout.
It's a good lesson there for all the young guys out there. If you want an autograph, you might want to bring a pen with you.
Oh, is that he had a football but no pen?
Football already, no pen.
Oh man,
it's a missed opportunity.
And we don't need a shirt either. You can bring shirts optional, but you need a marker. And then at that point, you can take the marker and just go ahead and paint it. Oh, look at that. Switching out hats.
That's a win.
It's because he had a Packers hat on? Okay. I'll tell you what, Chris Jones is built for this. I mean, he's a confident, verbal young man. Yeah, I loved it when BJ said, how confident are you? That is one thing we do not ever have to worry about with Chris is confidence. Chiefs are going to take a timeout here. Hey, Chris, well done. King Kissel leading the... Look out, Ted. No, I'm not going to let you do it, Travis. I'm not going to let you bust on me. Not going to let you bust on me. Ted, who does a fantastic job in the public relations office and helps us with every aspect of our job and everyone else's. And meanwhile, the Chiefs keep on rolling, matriculating down the field. Blake Mack, a rookie out of Arkansas State, undrafted free agent.
Good for a Kansas City Chiefs.
That's one of those spots that is up for grabs. Andy Reid said going into the preseason, the third tight end behind Travis Kelce and Demetrius Harris.
82 catches last 2 years after just 15 catches in his first 2 years. So kind of an ascending player, 6'2", 231. He can run. And that's, it's not with this team, or maybe it's in the practice squad. I mean, he's for this kind of offense when you want to utilize your F tight end, as they call it, the move tight end, and get him involved in different areas, flex him out, use him at wide receiver, finding a guy who can run in the 4.6s, that position gives you some flexibility. They've got some athletic tight ends. It's just figuring out who's going to work, obviously behind Travis Kelce, and how it's going to get done, especially in that first game of the year.
Let's check in again with BJ Kissel.
Hey, guys, down here with Chiefs inside linebacker Reggie Ragland. Reggie, talked a lot last week, your first action in the preseason against the Chicago Bears, had a chance to knock a little rust off. Just what was it like for you to get back out on the field, and how important was that?
It felt good, just see some of the speed of the game and get adjusted to it. And then I'm mad at myself, I missed the open field tackle out there in the flats, but I know it's a territory that comes with it sometimes. So, but for the most part, it felt good to get back out there and get the moving around and take some hits and hit people, so it was good.
It was talked a lot during the offseason when Anthony Hitchens was signed as a free agent. Brett Veach talked about creating a certain mindset on defense, particularly in stopping the run. How have you and Anthony Hitchens worked together, and how excited are you to get out there 10 days from now at StubHub Center and play the Chargers?
I'm excited. I like Hitch a lot. He's a good football player, but he's an even better person for me just sitting down and just talking with him. But our mindset is to make sure that teams can't run the ball on us. We're going to try to make teams one-dimensional and just throwing the ball. So our mindset is a whole, actually is a whole, to stop the run, and then we just play ball after that.
You told me that last year was just only a little taste of what you can do. Just what are your personal expectations for this season?
Just to keep getting better, stay in on third downs and show them that I can cover and do all that good stuff. And just do what got me here, man. Just play football, hit people, and put people in the right position and put myself in the position. It's just football, just run around hitting people. It's a kid's game, man. So sometimes we can put too much into it, and we can't do that.
I think now we're going to put you on the spot a little bit. For anybody who follows you on social media, on Snapchat or Instagram, whatever it is, you're always singing in the car. You're always doing something with music. We saw you playing the air drums earlier. They had that on the broadcast, you and Kelce jamming out. Just what do you got for us? Sing us a little something right now. We see you doing it every day on social media.
It depends on my mood, but what I'm not in the mood for right now. You caught me. I don't know.
we rode from Madison down to Tuscaloosa. We spent about an hour in the car, listening to a lot of soul music. Just what are you going to listen to in the car on the way home, and what can you sing us a little bit of that?
Oh, man, I will probably listen to, what am I going to listen to, BJ? I don't know. It's like
you got Aretha Franklin?
I love it.
You got an Aretha Franklin song?
R-E-S-P-E-C-T, find out what it means to me. R-E-S-P-E-C-T. I'm just kidding.
I knew it was going to happen.
That is a great interview technique, BJ. You stuck with the question for your subject until you got the answer you wanted, and then a hug to close it out. We got a little Aretha in the show. I was getting ready for Say a Little Prayer for Me. You
want to finish it up?
No, I don't think the Kingdom wants it. Although around our house we do watch the scene from the Blues Brothers quite often. with Matt Guitar Murphy and Aretha Franklin. And
feel free.
Yeah.
They want it more than a flag thrown.
You better think.
There we
Think
go.
about what you're trying to do to me. Think. Me and Reggie and I are going to work and act together. That's next off season. 3 of the first 4 on the road. So week 3, next time the Chiefs are going to be here in Arrowhead. That's a difficult start on the road. Beginning 10 days from now in LA.
They're going to find out a lot about where they are, especially on the defensive side early on at Pittsburgh after the opener. You finally get home, the week 3 for San Francisco, at Denver, Jacksonville at home, which is a positive, then to New England. So, man, schedulers didn't do them any favors, but you know what? Good teams find a way to win the tough games.
They started on the road very well last season at New England. And
yeah, I'd say so.
I would say so as well, especially for Kareem Hunt. And so then in the second half of the season, and obviously this is where things balance out a little bit more with the close at home at the end of the year, wrapping up against Oakland, trying to make it 3 straight AFC West championships.
It's never easy to win at Seattle, but Seattle's not the team that it has been. 3 out of the final 4 games at home. It's kind of how, you know, it's going to be a tough start, but if you need to dig out of a hole, that's a pretty good schedule in that final month.
November 19th in Mexico City. Boyle's stepping up, and he takes a pop and a roll. And Rob McCray, the rookie from Indiana, there on the stop. So, I mean, this incredible run under Andy Reid, including the back-to-back AFC wildcard, the AFC West championships, first time in franchise history, which is incredible for the division that goes back to the AFC days. They win it back-to-back for the first time, and then of course the goal, continue on.
Yeah, and remember the team that he took over for when he came to Kansas City. They were struggling, losing season, and every single year they're right there in the mix. It's now just about with Mahomes, continue to build and trying to take that next step, which obviously is to make a deep run into the playoffs and get a shot at the Super Bowl. And this is an exciting team. It really is. Mahomes will continue to get better. That offensive line will continue to gel. I think the front 7, as it is right now, is good enough. Again, the secondary is going to be the big issue, and part of that is really going to be the health. When does Sorensen come back at safety? Can Eric Berry stay healthy for a full season after, you know, kind of tweaking his Achilles again this year in the preseason, being limited? That you don't care about that for a veteran in terms of not being out here playing. You just want to make sure he's right for when things start. I think they handled the Berry situation extremely well.
Chiefs offense quarterback by Chase Litton. Ray Laurie, the rookie out of Old Dominion, undrafted free agent, the all-time leading rusher in Old Dominion history.
ODU bumped up to Division I, and he proved he was ready.
They have a big home game against Virginia Tech in September. I know that because I'll be there.
I was just going to say, where did you get that information?
That was, well, everyone has that one circled on their schedule. Chiefs trying to close out the preseason with a...
Look at him reach out, the diving catch. I'm obsessed with this true view from Intel technology. Get to see it at like no other angle I've seen before, Carter.
And as we recap what to watch, presented by the University of Kansas Health System, the official healthcare provider of the Kansas City Chiefs. So Watts with the 2 interceptions, yes. Depth at wide receiver, Pringle with 122 receiving yards. And then, incredible. And then Williams with 11 carries, 41 yards. So check all those boxes. And back on the ground, Laurie, the rookie out of Old Dominion, who's in camp with the Bengals and actually was cut by the Bengals after the first preseason game. Signed by the Chiefs. We check with BJ.
Hey, thanks, Carter. Down here with Chiefs cornerback Steven Nelson. Steven, it was great to see you at practice last week for a couple days after you left the game against the Bears early. But one thing we saw from you at training camp was your ability to take the ball away. Just what kind of expectations do you have for the season after having a training camp? You led the team in interceptions.
Right, man. Pretty much, man, just want to get my hands on some balls and, you know, turn the ball over for the defense and get the ball back in the pad hands and, you know, so we can win the game.
I know you talked about it earlier in the broadcast. One of the things that you did earlier in this week at a community event, we were out there helping kids in the community. Can you just tell me a little bit about why that event and why it was so important to you?
Right, it's something I've been very passionate about, man. It's something I've been putting together for a while, and pretty much just wanted to give these kids some knowledge on what they should be putting in their bodies at an early age so they can take with them and their parents into their homes.
All right, thanks, Steven. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, BJ. Thank you, Steven. So winding down towards the end of the preseason, it's going to be a Chiefs win. What are your biggest takeaways, maybe not only from tonight in preseason game number 4, but for this entire preseason for the Chiefs?
Well, I think you see some of the youth coming in and starting to find ways to contribute. Derek Nottie is going to be an impact player. Breland Speaks, an impact player, both in the front 7 of this defense. Armani Watts with the 2 interceptions tonight, finishing on a great note and showing that, hey, I can be involved in this defense if you need me. So I've been impressed with the young players, especially on the defensive side, late in this preseason from the Chiefs.
Well, the Kansas City Chiefs close out the preseason with a 33-21 win over Green Bay. The Chiefs quarterbacks combined 27 of 44, 326 yards and 2 TDs. And 10 days away, week 1, out to LA to begin defense of the AFC West title. For our producer Ryan Galp, our director Andy Goldberg, for Todd McShay, BJ Kissel, I'm Carter Blackburn. Lucy, put supper on the stove, my dear. This ball game is over. And the Chiefs preseason comes to an end with a laugher at Arrowhead all the way around. Rocking and rolling into 2018. Waving the flag no matter which way you hold it in the kingdom.
ECT, find out what it means to me. R-E-S-P-E-C-T. I'm just kidding.
I knew it was going to happen.
That is a great